Hey guys, welcome back. I know this is a little different from what we've been doing up until now, but I hope that you're all doing well, and I think this can be really exciting. So, for today, we're going to be talking about annotations. Pretty soon, you guys are going to be turning in an annotated bibliography. And we'll be talking more about what that means and what that looks like. But for now, know that you have to turn in two annotated bibliographies on peer review sources. And these take a little bit longer to do because peer reviewed sources are those scholarly articles that, like we talked about last time when we met in the library, they're going to be more scientific. You're not necessarily their audience, so they're a little bit more dense to get through. Anyways, and then the other set of annotations that you're going to have is a uh, popular media annotations. So for popular media annotations, you'll be turning in two bibliographies for that as well. And again, we'll go over that more. This is sort of just to introduce you to those components that'll be due within the next couple of weeks and give you a better idea of what that looks like. So, some important deadlines to keep in mind. We have, and I don't want you guys to stress out about this too much right now, but your first set of annotations is going to be due on the 30th. So that is next Sunday. And then and those are going to be your scholarly annotations. And then the following Sunday, you'll be turning in your annotations for your popular media sources. So those are annotations 3 and 4. The week of April 5th, you'll be signing up for conference slots on Canvas. So normally we would do these in person and you would just come to my office and we would chat for like 10 minutes or so. But this is a little bit different because we can't meet in person. So we're going to be doing web conferences instead. And I haven't totally figured out how we're going to do that yet, but I'm thinking something like Skype or maybe the conference tool on Canvas. And you'll sign up for a slot or a time. And then we will just meet at that time and talk about your A3 and what you're planning on doing with it, and just make sure that you're headed in the right direction with that. And then week of conferences will be from the week of April 20th. So we won't have any kind of class on Tuesday the 21st or Thursday the 23rd. It will just be conferences. And then week of April 27th, or on April 27th, your first draft of A3 is due. You'll be submitting that online, and we'll have an online workshop the following day. So that is a Tuesday of 4/28. And then your final draft of A3 is due on April 30th. So you'll have some time to make revisions, and we won't be holding class on the 30th so that you can use that extra time to make revisions on your A3s. Um, and I know I'll do my best to send you guys reminders about all of these deadlines. I know it's a lot harder to keep up with things when we are doing online classes. So, write these deadlines down. If you have a planner or if you want to write it down in the calendar for your phone, whatever's going to help you keep track of the deadlines, write them down and make sure that you do keep track of them. But also, I will do my best to send out reminders for these things. So, let's talk about the research process. The last time we all met, you guys were at the library and you started to do some research on topics that you were possibly interested. So some of the questions that you might be asking yourself is, where do you start? And then once you've found a topic that interests you, how do you proceed to look for sources? Where do you look for them? How do you identify which sources are reliable and unbiased sources for you to use? So that's a little bit of what we're going to be talking about today. And your annotated bibliographies are the assignment that sort of helps you determine whether or not the sources that you're using are reliable, and assess critically whether they're sources that you should be using in a researched argument paper. So, a little bit about the research process. The research process is going to be a large part of this assignment. Most of your time is going to be spent doing research. So, keep in mind that picking your topic is research. You want to start with your topic, and then you want to read articles in journals, newspapers, magazines, websites. Find all the information that you can and start to look at where you see points of controversy. Where are the issues that people are divided on, that people are saying different things about? And then think about what you might want to know about those issues. So, how can you research it from a new perspective? And developing those inquiry questions that we talked about will be helpful in focusing your research. And then once you do have those inquiry questions, you want to look for sources that are going to help answer those questions. And that is how you keep your research and your argument focused, is by making sure that you're answering those questions that you have. So, a little bit about the annotations that you guys are going to be doing. Your research, you're going to be doing research into a debatable issue. It has to be debatable. So when I say debatable, I mean it's an issue that people are divided on. And we talked about this a little bit the last time we met, but that feels like forever ago. So, what I mean when I say that is things like abortion. There are pro life people and there are pro choice people, and it's always something that people are split on. Or, prison, the death penalty. People are always split on whether there should be a death penalty or whether there shouldn't be. So you don't want to write about those things because I think those things are overdone. And we want to explore new topics that are related to food, energy, and water. But you want to find something that is debatable. So something like there's a lot of pollution in the atmosphere. It might not be that debatable. So, yeah, just make sure that your issue is debatable. And if you have questions about whether or not your issue is debatable, feel free to email me and ask me. So you want to use your research to understand the complexity of your issue. You want it to represent different perspectives and sides of the issue. And ultimately, you want to find research that supports your position on this issue while also representing the other side, because keep in mind that one component of this is that you have to have a counter argument that you represent fairly. So, what is an annotated bibliography? You probably want to know what that is since you're going to be turning one in on Sunday. So, this is a list of entries arranged alphabetically about different resources that you consult when writing a research paper. So, each annotated bibliography is going to consist of 3 parts. There's the full citation in MLA style, just like you would put it at the end of your works cited page. Then there's a key point summary. So you're essentially telling me what this article is about and what the key points are. So what's the thesis, what are the key points? And then you give me an analysis of that source. So why is it a good source? Why do you plan on using it? How is it contributing to your reader's understanding of the topic? A lot of annotated bibliographies contain a critical preface, which just means that it's an introduction, but you guys won't have to be writing an introduction when you turn one in for me. And an important resource for this is going to be OWL. The OWL website is linked here, and you feel free to explore that page because it'll be really helpful when it comes to creating these annotations, especially the works cited portion of it. And then you can also use EasyBib, which is going to create the citation for you, and all you have to do is plug in the information. So you want to make sure that it's doing it accurately, but those are some good resources to have. So they're both linked here. So when you're creating your annotations, each annotation is going to be 250 words. Half of those 250 words will be the summary of that source. So, what is this source saying? What are the key points? And then the other half is an analysis. So, the analysis is going to discuss the 3 R's. The 3 R's are relevancy, reliability, and recency. And what these are, let's talk about relevancy first. When assessing a source's relevancy, you want to ask the following questions. Does this source relate to my topic? Does it speak to my issue? And does it help answer my inquiry questions? And does it provide a new perspective on one of my stakeholder groups? So, is this source focusing on when you're assessing the relevancy of a source, you want to focus on how this source is helping your research and how it talks to the other sources that you're planning on using in your paper. Assessing the recency of a source is going to ask the following questions. So, how important is recency to my topic? Am I writing about something that needs to have current statistics, or have the statistics on this topic not changed much within the last 20 years? If you're talking about hunger rates, that's something that's constantly changing. We read about that in the Martin Caparo's article, so maybe you wouldn't want to use information from 20 years ago to talk about hunger. But if you're talking about something else that hasn't changed too much within the last 20 years, then it may be okay to have statistics on things that are older. So the other question is, given my issue, is this source current enough to be useful? And will this source provide a current answer to my inquiry question?